Hey free range friends, have you ever used this to refinish your furniture? Well, we've been doing quite a few pieces around here and I'm going to share those with you right now. I've got 4 projects to show you today, and I'm going to show you the process that I went through and then the end result. The first one is this round table that I had bought at an estate sale. This is a solid maple piece, and I had in mind to paint it. There's the original finish, but I thought maybe I'll try this and see how that wood looks below. So I put it on and I wait about 15 minutes or so, and then I scrub it off with water. The next project were these cute little solid wood turned salt and pepper shakers that we had bought at a thrift store. They had a pretty walnut finish on them, but I have a lot of wood in my kitchen already going on, so I thought it would be nice to see what was underneath that old finish and see if I like it or not. So again, gave them a nice thick coat of the oven cleaner and left them in a shady spot. I noticed with the table that I had left it out in the sun a little bit, and it wasn't the best effect. When I put it inside the garage and put the oven cleaner on it, it seemed to do a lot better, although you need plenty of ventilation because, as you know, if you've used any of this oven cleaner, it's very stinky and you don't want to be breathing that. Next was this little estate sale find stool, and I just loved the wood finish on it. I did not want to paint it, but on one side it had in permanent marker the names of the people that had owned it before, and I had sanded that off, so it left an uneven finish spot on there. So I decided to go ahead and give this oven cleaner stripper, I guess you would call it, a try on this old finish and see what's underneath. Again, I gave it a thorough soaking with the oven cleaner, and I know with some projects it takes more than one time to get the finish where you want it, and I'm going to link to a couple people on Instagram that do a lot of this oven cleaner furniture stripping, so you can see even more projects. That will be down in the not the comment section, but the description of the video, and you can see there where I had sanded it and it was uneven, so I really didn't like that. I put a nice thick coat on this, and it was solid wood. Again, kind of important, although I'm going to show you on this little dresser that there was some laminated wood on top, and I'll kind of talk to you about what we did with that. The next project was this little dresser. It actually had a painted finish, and this is after one coat. I had just experimented to see if I liked what the oven cleaner was doing over paint. I hadn't tried it over paint, and it seemed to work really well, and there's just a stain and probably a polyurethane finish on top. I don't know. I know it was more recent because the person I bought it from told me that she had done some work on the piece. So this is going to be on Rob's side of the bed. I have a larger one with a very similar shape. So they're not going to match on either side of the bed, but they're going to be very similar. And I love the glass handles on this. I did take those off as I was refinishing it, but I liked how it cleaned the metal on the salt and pepper shaker so much that I thought, why not? It gives them a good cleaning. And although we really even did like the little bit of turquoise paint on there, I went ahead and gave it a second coat. And then you'll see, I wanted you to see how you need just a really strong pressure hose and how that paint was just dripping off. It was so exciting. Really, I need to use my power washer next time, which I have seen other people do. But you can see it's just slipping right off. Very satisfying work at this point. And it was very sunny and warm out, so I was able to put this out in the sun to dry, so it did not hurt the wood at all. What I did find out on the drawers, there was some laminate, so we actually just peeled that off, and there was wood underneath, and we worked with that wood. So then I had to do a little finishing. I did some light sanding on some pieces. This salt and pepper shaker, I was not in love with the finish. It really needed more coats of the oven cleaner, which I really wasn't interested in doing, and I really didn't love the wood. And like I said, we have a lot of wood in our kitchen, so I decided I had some black craft paint, just in acrylic, and I watered it down just a bit and went ahead and put a black finish on these. But you can still see some of the wood through it, and I'll show you that in a minute. And I'll show you what I did for a top coat as well. So you can see it's going on and covering really well, but you actually do see some of the darker wood through the black. So it's sort of that really popular brown black right now, which I'm seeing a lot of designer pieces in that because they're mixing the black and white that's so popular, but also with the earthy browns. Then I put a finish of the Fusion Mineral Hemp Oil that I had. You can see it's well used, but it can go over painted surfaces or raw wood. And you can see there how it's a little bit translucent. And I just put the oil all over, and it's a tinted, sort of a brown tint. So it just really made it look layered and added a lot of depth to that finish. And I love it so much. I'm going to have to do it on some furniture, I think. It's a beautiful finish. I just put it on with a rag. You could use a brush. And it turns out, so I just wanted to show you kind of in slow motion there where you can see some of the wood through there. So honestly, if you had a wood walnut piece that you just wanted to update, you could put the watered down black over it and then some of this hemp oil, and it gives it just so many layers. It's beautiful. I ended up using my just my hands by the end of this. It seemed like I was doing a better job than with the rag, and isn't that the case with so many things? Your hands end up being the best tools. So you just let this soak in, and then you come back with a rag and buff the excess, anything that's just sitting on the top. But this really did soak in well, and I didn't have to take off a lot. And here I am finishing the little stool, you can see it got stripped right down to the raw wood, which is just beautiful and very popular right now and very expensive if you try to buy any real wood furniture that has this finish. And this is just a clear wax. I used Annie Sloan clear wax that I had on hand just because I wanted a very matte finish. And I didn't want any shine in there. As you can see, it darkens just a tiny bit, but what I found as the wax dries, that it goes pretty much back to its original state. And of course that would depend on how many coats you put on. Now this is the dresser top, and Rob sanded this, and so he sanded off to the level, he used a fine grain to finish it, and he sanded it to how he wanted it. So he left whatever original sort of paint, or I guess you would call it imperfections, old finish, that he wanted on there. And now, how do they look? First is the stool. That's the finished stool, and I just love it with that matte wax finish. I think it should hold up beautifully. It's not so orangey as it was. This is the maple table. This was taken at night, so it's not a great video. I'm sorry about that, but you can see the finish. I have not put a top coat on this yet. I was debating whether I was going to do the wax or something different, but you can see that it took it right down to the raw wood, and then I just did a light sanding. It's a little harder on the legs, and these came out just beautiful. I'm really happy with them, even though they're not that raw wood finish that you kind of go for when you use the oven cleaner. I just love how you can see a little bit of the wood, and the black goes really great in our kitchen with our wood countertops. And finally, the little dresser or nightstand is ready to use, and it fits just perfectly in this spot. It's very rustic. It's that very rustic sort of Scandi modern kind of look because of that stripped wood, which I would say is exactly what we're going for. We both love that sort of rustic cottage, but with an edge of modern on it, or sort of Scandi. So we're pretty happy with it. We like that it's got a little bit of the original paint showing. I mean, in an antique or a flea market, antique store, this would be a pretty pricey piece. So let me know what you think, and thanks for joining us at Free Range Cottage.